The great Diverne once said pertaining to humor, there is no place for humor in magic except that arising out of a situation. And I completely agree with him, and the same applies with flourishes. Excessively used flourishes will just show that you can do something the others can't, and they will give you a solution by telling them, well, it was all ability. That's, if you want to create real magic, the last impression you want to leave with an audience is that everything you have done is by ability. Nonetheless, flourishes are an important part of the card magician's tools. And I think there's some moments in the construction of a routine where a little accentuation, a little action of beauty, a little display of skill will enhance the effect. But it has very cautiously be selected. Now let's look at a few situations. For instance, can we turn over the top card of the deck? Now, rather than simply going like this, or going like this, or going like that, here is a very neat way of doing it. You can even go a little bit further and turn the whole card based on. So you say, ladies and gentlemen, the Jack of Diamonds goes over there, and 10 over here. Another way that looks a little bit more snappy, maybe in the context of an acrobat card routine, and say, and this is the most skilled card, it always comes to the top. So we hold the card in a pinch grip, press down with the thumb, and the tension in the card will cause it to flip over on its own. Here's a very nice way of turning over the top card, for instance, in a dealing routine. We deal the cards 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is my card. I deal the cards like this, and this is the card. Edward Marlowe referred to this as the cook's slide because it was shown to him by an anonymous cook. The card is pushed over, and the thumbs, one on the bottom, one on top, cause the card to turn over. That looks very pretty. And again, don't forget to display the card vertically at an angle so everybody can get a good view of it. Here's another way of turning over the top card, with just using one hand. The 5 of hearts. The card is pushed over, you dig your forefinger beneath it and just use the other fingers to clip it. It's very nice to, for instance, turn over 2 cards at the same time. Or it can be used in a small packet to count the cards by saying, I have 1 card, I have 2 cards, I have 3 cards, and so on. Here's an elegant way of cutting the card with one hand. We call it the Charlier cut, going back to a French magician by the name of Charlier, about whom we know very little, a mysterious character. The Charlier cut, you start with the deck in dealing position. The forefinger goes beneath it and lifts it up. As the thumb controls the deck on the other side, the little finger goes to the inner end. Now the left thumb lets about half the cards drop. These are shifted over with the forefinger. Remember always to have the little finger over here, because otherwise the cards will fall on the table. The deck passes and the 2 packets coalesce. To do this so that it looks elegant, start in the dealing position, go into it, and finish again in the dealing position. A very nice applications here is to say to the spectator, "Sir, would you please be so kind as to cut the deck? Thank you very much, that's enough." The swivel cut is a neat way to cut the cards. That's how this is the swivel cut. It can be done from a break or without a break. If you do it from a break, you can then control a card to the bottom or to the top, depending if the break is held beneath or below the card. So it's what it is. If you do it without the break, the left hand comes over, gets about half the card with the forefinger. Your middle finger acts as a pivot, and you go like this. So here's the action. You can do various things with it. For instance, if you have a card on the bottom, the moment before you drop this packet on top, you stick your thumb in and if you pull it out, you have a very nice production of the card. So you can either do it this way, or you can do it as the Professor Divernon preferred to do it. Use your finger like this, and now turn it over so the packet falls neatly into dealing position. So either way, as you prefer it, do the swivel cut. This is the Boomerang Card. Can be effectively used before revealing a card, for instance. You say, and what was your card? Do a little boomerang, turn it over, 7 of hearts. You can do this very high. You can do it just a few inches high. It just looks very nice. It's a nice way of doing it. Now the technique is a combination of 2 movements. First of all, your hand flicks at the wrist like this, just giving a movement at the wrist. The second movement, which is coordinated with the flick of the wrist, is the right forefinger, which turns the card like so, which is held by the thumb and middle finger. If you combine the wrist flick with the right forefinger movement, you get a very attractive boomerang card. Of course, you want to move the hand as little as possible. The less, rather than doing a movement like that, move it as less as possible and give it, this looks very nice if the hand. The fan is something we're going to use over and over again. A fan is good to display cards and saying a deck with 52 different cards. It is good to say to a spectator, please put back a card, please have a card. We can stick cards back. So let's look at the 2-hand fan. So the basic idea of the fan is that there is a pivot point which is fixed and the cards are moved around it like so, thus obtaining this configuration. So here's how I do the 2-handed fan. Rather than having a fixed point around which the cards turn like this, which would result in a relatively small fan, I have a mobile point. Let me show you first on the table. I exaggerate to make the point. Rather than the deck goes up like this, comes down, and is fanned like that. This results in a much larger fan. Now let's try to do this in the hand. The deck starts in dealing position. You pull it up and get it exactly into that. So the forefinger and the thumb hold the deck about at this point. The right hand will move the cards up, and they move up along the forefinger, the left forefinger, and underneath the thumb. Come over here and come back like this. That's all done in one smooth movement, a little bit like the ribbon spread, where the forefinger moved like that to release the cards. In this case, the thumb releases the cards. At the same time, you have some pressure applied. Although it's not what is called a pressure fan, this is called a pressure fan. We're not using the pressure fan technique here, but a slight pressure downwards, which results in about pressure like this. So you need to use a continuous movement, and the cards are snapped into a fan, like so. Let me show from beneath. If you want to do it with the faces towards the audience, you can do this. Now remember that the cards move up, down like this, resulting in a larger fan. And the movement is very small, but it really makes a difference. To close the fan, you do it reverse side. You put your little finger over here, just move in the other direction and get the deck back into dealing position. Or if you prefer, you can close it using one hand. That will require a little more practice. Let's look at 2 one-handed fans. One is a very quick one, looks like that. It's best executed with just part of the deck, although you can do it with a whole deck. It's very simple. 4 fingers on the back, the thumb on the face, and the 2 units move in opposite directions. The fingers in this direction, the thumb in the other direction. Try to do this in slow motion. like this. Of course, it doesn't produce a fan. So it's a combined opposite movement of the fingers and thumb on the one side and pressure of the fingers on the other hand. Like this. And this is called a reverse fan. The cards, as opposed to a two-handed fan where the indexes are displayed, is opened the other way round, thus displaying the white surface, the non-index corner of the deck. Now here's how it's done. The deck is held with the thumb in a parallel position to the ends, the other fingers curled on the back. Now what happens, these fingers are going to uncurl. Ultimately it's a very small movement, a circular movement, like so, that opens the fan. Let me show you from beneath. Here is a nice little flourish that is unpretentious and still has a very nice effect. It starts with the ribbon spread. We turn it over, displaying a deck with 52 cards. Now you can do this back and forth only one way. It's almost automatic. Once you know how to do a tabled ribbon spread, all you have to do is just flip the cards over, and on their own they will turn over. It's nice to accompany the crest either with the forefinger or with the thumb. And you can catch the cards and bring them back, or if you like, you can say a deck of cards, 52 different cards, and bring them back and gather them. You can split the spread, if you like, in the center, going in two directions. You can do this with your fingers, or you can do this with a card. So you can take an assisting card, turn it over and go like this, which also looks very nice, and take even a second card and split the spread, if you like, at this point. Although all these moves are beautiful and intriguing, especially to ourselves as musicians, please take my advice. In many years of professional performance, use them very sparingly.